My name is Matt Parsons and I was born with Erbs Palsy, which is also known as Brachial Plexus Injury. So my mum did physiotherapy with me every day to try and get some of the nerves fired up and to build up some muscle. It was a difficult time back in the 80s as there was no internet. My parents couldn't do the research that you can do nowadays. They felt alone and had to do the best that they could in the situation. So what about now? Well, here I am, almost 30 years later. My range of movement isn't great, but I still get by. My original plan was to make a feature-length documentary, but as I started interviewing people, I realised that there was far too much to say in just a couple of hours. In this episode, I'm talking to Adrian Clayborn, a professional NFL player. Well, look, thank you so much for taking your time and having a chat with me about Erbs Palsy, brachial plexus injury. You know, I know we met a few years ago, didn't we, at a UBPN camp?
Yep.
And you know, it was amazing to meet you then, and I know you inspired a lot of people there. So thank you for giving up your time and chatting with me again today.
Of course. Anytime I can help out our community, it's a bonus for everybody and for me, just so I can spread the knowledge, a little bit that I have, and try to get some encouraging words.
Amazing, yeah. I mean, like when I met you at the UBPN camp, did you know much about sort of the UBPN sort of community? Because I mean, it was something that sort of I didn't know anything about, and then someone sort of introduced it to me, and I was like, wow, I cannot believe there are so many people out there that have this injury. And there was this whole like network of people that I had no idea was there. I mean, did you know much about like the community or anything before?
I knew a little bit about it. 'Cause my mom's friend, Carol, who she got close with, she was there. And I met her son, and then once I kind of got on social media and my story got out with the draft or whatever, and people just started reaching out to me, and I was surprised at first with how many people have our injury. But through the years, yeah, I've learned that it's a lot more than just a small community of us.
Yeah, and it's something that I don't know how you feel, but I always felt like it's not really taken as seriously as it should. There's not
Hmm.
there's not enough sort of money being plowed into like research of how operations that we can have. I mean, have you had operations or anything? I mean, did you have any treatment sort of growing up?
No, I mean, we've tried therapy, um, and it worked to an extent, but never had any surgery. But honestly, when I started seeing a lot of progress is when I started like lifting weights, and I started really um, trying to how to describe it, just trying to work the smaller muscles and really attack them and really strengthen my arm, and that's when I saw the most progress.
Yeah.
But also, my injury isn't the worst that I've seen. You know what I mean? So in that aspect, I would say that I have a little bit of an advantage, I guess, because I can still move my arm relatively a lot compared to other people.
Yeah, I mean, growing up, I think it's one of those things where I think most people are sort of born with it. I mean, I know that there's also a lot of people out there that get it later in life due to an accident, like a motorbike accident or a car accident and things like that. So you were born with it, is that right?
Yep. I was born with it. Doctor tried to pull me out too fast, and I was a huge baby, and he caused injury.
Yeah, yeah, same story here. You know, I was like nearly 11 pounds. You know, I was
Yeah.
pretty. Um, but again, like it's such a funny injury because everyone's is so different. You know, you've gone on to do some amazing things, and actually for the likes of myself living in England, I know there's loads of people obviously in America that follow American football, but for the likes of me who don't know that much about NFL, do you want to sort of explain a little bit about what you've done in a bit about your career?
Sure. Yeah. Well, I started playing football. Actually, I started playing baseball because my mom wouldn't let me play football because it's such a violent sport. That was my first sport. And then I started playing basketball, which I love. That's probably my favorite sport at the time. And then my mom finally let me start playing football like eighth grade.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I just accelerated. I mean, came natural to me. I was always limited to playing one side of the ball. It's kind of hard to explain, but I couldn't really use my right arm obviously as much as my left, so I was kind of limited. So I kind of was limited to one side of the field, I guess. But yeah, I played in college, played 10 years in the NFL. Had a decent career. As far as I know, I'm the only one with this injury. Actually, there's one more guy that I know with this injury to make it to the NFL and really thrive. So, yeah, I got played 10 years and I'm retired.
That's amazing. What are you doing now? Now you've done that. Are you coaching, or I know you play golf, and I play golf as well. So what's the sort of the plan for you now? Do you do coaching and things like that?
I started training a kid for D-line stuff for like the position I played in the NFL. But now no coaching just yet. I'm thinking about it because I missed being a part of the game.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Right now I'm doing some real estate stuff. Got a couple of rental properties. I'm doing that.
Nice.
Other than that, I'm just golfing a lot.
Yeah, I'm a bit jealous. I'm a bit jealous of the golfing a lot because I saw you on Instagram like the other day, and I was watching you swing, and it's an interesting one because I love golf, and I'd love to put on at some point like an Erbs Palsy like golf tournament or something. Like get loads together and have a golf tournament. But I know I found out that Morgan Freeman, the actor, has got, and I had no idea about this. I was doing some research the other day, and he was in a car accident, and he can't use his left arm. I think it's his left arm.
Oh, really?
He golf, and he plays one-handed. And I was watching.
Oh, I didn't know that.
And I had no idea. And then that got me thinking about you to play golf. So I've only got like a half swing, three-quarter swing, because I can't get my left arm up enough to do a full swing. So how do you, like with golf, do you do the same sort of thing, or?
Yeah, for the most part. I mean, I've always been left arm dominant, so that's kind of the arm that you need the most because I'm left-handed. So I just work around it, like I did in football. I always just worked around it and figured out a way. Like I can't really finish all the way through because my arm doesn't bend that way.
Yeah.
But I mean, like we all do, we figure out a way to get it done. So
yeah, exactly. And I think that's something that I find is really common in the people that have got the same injuries as us, that we adapt, and we find our way of doing something. It might look a little bit different, but we still find our way of doing it. And it's funny that you're talking about your mum mentioned about like trying to put you off playing football, American football, because of it being a contact sport. And I was the same. So over here, we've got rugby. It's quite I don't know if you know much about rugby. Yeah, so I've never played rugby, and it was kind of advised by the doctors and my parents that actually that's something that I shouldn't play, just in case it gets damaged, and and it's so it's really amazing to see you do a contact sport and do well at it, and so there might be like rugby players in England that in the UK that want to get in to do that kind of stuff, but they're afraid of doing it in case they get injured. But is there any sort of precautions that you did? Is anything that you did, you train in a specific way to help you sort of do these sort of contact sports? I mean, obviously, it's a bit different for people like us, isn't it?
Yeah. No precautions. I mean, like I said, we find out a way to get it done. And I guess mostly I use the left side of my body to do most of this stuff, but I just figured out a way. And as far as like in weight training, I really focused on building up my right arm to be as strong as possible. It was never going to be as strong as my left arm, but I really just focused on, I would do extra reps, extra sets, extra therapy, extra everything on my right arm just to make sure it's the best that it could be, because it's never going to be obviously what my left is, but I just made sure it was stronger and healthy as possible so I wouldn't injure it. And luckily, I mean, I tore my bicep on my right arm playing, but that wasn't because of the injury. It was just because I made a knucklehead play. But yeah, even that it bounced back, and it was still good. But yeah, I just made sure I try to get it as close to my left arm as possible.
Yeah, and it's one of those things that, as well, that I know that there's a lot of people out there that suffer from problems with self-confidence and self-image, and I know that's something for me growing up. My left side is quite a lot weaker, and I really admire that when you're in the gym, you're focusing a lot more on your Erbs Palsy side, and it's just trying to work out what movements we can do and build on that, I guess, isn't it? We're never gonna, like, I can only get my arm up to like there,
But
Yeah.
let's see what, as much as I can do, and then I'll work on just that thing. I haven't got the nerves to make it go even any, further than that, but I'll just build it. I'm doing the push-up thing at the minute. I'm trying to do as many push-ups as I can, and I'm adapting the way I do that. And it's just kind of working with what we've got, I guess, isn't it?
Yeah, you got to. I had a thought, I forgot what it was, but yeah. I was definitely, and I still am sometimes self-conscious about like my arm, but I think my teammates really embraced me and my injury and knew I had it. And when I was working out and doing extra reps with my right arm, yeah, it kind of made me feel at ease. And back when my teammates didn't really know about it, I mean, I just had to fight my way through it because I knew it was what was best for me.
Yeah.
So,
and it's funny being in the gym, because again, there's a lot of people that are so nervous about going to the gym, because how I would use gym equipment would be quite different to how other people might use it. And I did an interview with a guy called Joe Campbell, like really amazing guy, lives in London, and I did some videos of him in the gym and how he adapts. And if rather than him sitting and doing this way, he might sit backwards on the chair and do it that way, just so he's working those muscles, but finding a different way of doing it. And it doesn't matter what people think, it's, at least we're doing it. I think that's the key. Yeah. I think we should probably get people watching these videos, is that it's there are people out there like yourself that are doing such amazing things and have accomplished so much. But it's just a matter of, did you ever suffer with sort of a belief that like, I can't do this, or like you want to give up at any point and it's just, it's not worth the heartache, and or were you always quite positive and kind of knew what you wanted and worked towards just getting that? Did you have any setbacks at all or anything?
No, I mean, I always knew what I wanted. I never really had is that what you're asking? I had setbacks with my arm?
Yeah, setbacks. Yeah.
No, I never really had it. Never really had any setbacks. I mean, I was very fortunate to kind of be healthy, and I never really injured it besides that one time. But yeah, I never really had any setbacks, I don't think. I mean, I would say my biggest setback was kind of convincing colleges that I can still play ball, even though I had it. But I mean, my play on the field kind of spoke for itself, and a lot of colleges took the risk, and a lot of NFL teams took the risk. So kind of worked my way through that with my, I guess, confidence in my ability to play ball.
Yeah, and I think it's actually, sometimes it's that limiting belief from other people, isn't it? It's not necessarily us. It's kind of the doctors or the people say, oh, no, we can't let you on the team because we're not sure you're going to be able to do it. And it's like, well, I can do it. Just give you the opportunity to do it.
Yeah, you just got to convince them, and you got to, once you get the opportunity, you got to show them. And another thing, before we go too far about the whole gym thing, I would say to people out there that everybody has some kind of thing that they're insecure about. So when you're in the gym, you might think people are looking at you, but maybe you're inspiring them because you are there. So you just never know. And I don't know, I kind of think of it that way. And I mean, even the most unfit person is insecure about something. Absolutely. So don't let that phase you.
Yeah, that's amazing advice. But you're right. People have always got something, haven't they? That and yeah, that's awesome. Again, the sort of, it works very differently over here than it does to in the States. So we have the hospitals and doctors. We've got what we call the NHS. So we get a certain amount of free healthcare service, and if you want to pay private, you can do that as well. So growing up, how does it work in America? So if you've got an injury like this, do you have to pay for surgery, or do you have to pay for consultations? I mean, how does it sort of work from your
to be honest, I'm not 100% sure on that, because I never really had to go the surgery route.
Yeah,
I know some therapy when I was younger was taken care of, was free for me.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm not really sure on the whole medical part, because we never did the surgery route.
Yeah, no, that's fair. No, I've never sort of gone down that route either. But so have you got brothers or sisters, or and your family? So did they support you? How did they support you growing up with this injury?
Yeah, I'm the youngest of four, and yeah, my mom, she was very supportive. Obviously, she was a little hesitant at first with me playing football.
Yeah.
But yeah, she always wanted me to be in sports, and my brother played sports also, so I kind of followed him. So yeah, everybody was pretty supportive of my injury and just wanted me to succeed.
Yeah, that's really good. And again, having that support network, I think, is really important. If especially if you've got a vision of where you want to be, having those people behind you is really important. Do you get like pain at all in your arm? Because again, some people get loads and loads of pain, and some people sort of get a little bit, and some people get none. I guess it just depends on what nerves have been damaged. But how, from your experience,
Mhm.
what do you?
Um, I get a little bit of pain in the back of my shoulder. I'm not sure what that muscle's called. But yeah, I get a little pain, but not really. My thing is just the tightness, which we all deal with, and me trying to overextend, which I definitely had to do in football, and that's where most of my pain came from. But other than that, I don't get too much pain. I just the tightness in the neck and that stuff is what bothers me the most.
Yeah. Do you still do stretches and things like that to keep the
Yeah,
arm?
for sure, for
Yeah.
sure. And I found a lot of relief in that with stretching, and I also like when well, I had the advantage, I guess, whatever the word is, of having NFL trainers be able to stretch me out and then get me in position that I can't necessarily get myself in.
Okay.
So that helped. And also a trick for that, which I mean, I just use bands. You can use bands also.
Yeah.
That way to help you get in positions that you can't necessarily do yourself.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that helped a lot also.
That's good. Um, what's the sort of the main, like for me, again, like get my arm up, but also turning my arm over is something that, you know, if I do this, I can kind of just
Mhm.
about get it round. What and put my arm behind my back.
Mhm.
I can't get that movement. What for you, what's the sort of the thing that you struggle with the most, like from a movement point of view?
Yeah. Same. I can get my arm over a little bit
Yeah,
more, but pretty much just external rotation.
yeah,
That's where I lack the most, and I can get my arm pretty high over my head.
yeah,
So,
that's good, yeah.
but my mostly just external rotation. That's what limited me the most.
Yeah. Brilliant. And yeah, so how does it, so apart from golf and obviously football, is there any other sort of sports? You know, you mentioned baseball. Is there anything else that you do like from a sport sort of point of view?
Now that I'm done playing football, I kind of want to get back into basketball because that was really my first passion.
Yeah.
I don't know if these old knees can take it anymore, but I'm gonna try to get back into it. So we'll see.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
good. For me, I played cricket growing up, so I don't know. Again, I don't know
Okay.
much about cricket, but I was told that I'd never be able to play sport above a basic level. I wouldn't be able to catch a ball or anything like that. And so, for me, I ended up playing for my county, so for Northamptonshire, up until I was like 18, 19 years old. So I never made it pro, but you know, I played sort of, I guess, semi-pro until I was like 18, 19. And
Mhm.
the dream was originally going to be I wanted to be a pro cricketer, but I ended up doing other stuff in the end. And I find it really frustrating when people say you can't do something, and you know and I think maybe
Mhm.
they're just protecting themselves. You know, like doctors are protecting themselves. You know, maybe I don't know,
Right.
but I think listening to you talk, it's so important that you know there are no limitations really. You know, we're limited in some movement, but I guess
Right.
what I'm getting from talking to you is if we work the muscles, if we keep stretching and we've got a positive mindset, and we work towards the goals, we can achieve the things that we want to achieve.
Yeah. Yeah. I would 100% agree with that. I think a positive attitude and getting over those insecurities, and then just working your arm and testing the boundaries of what we can actually do. Because if we just listen to the doctors, which sometimes they do play it safe, uh, and when in some extreme cases maybe is valid, but I mean, just test your arm and see what you can do, and yeah, you probably can do more than you think you can.
Yeah, I think I don't know if you've ever experienced it as well, like working out. I'm you obviously a professional athlete, you know, sportsman, like, but I sometimes get into this mindset of like I can do this. So I go into the gym, and obviously, sometimes I push myself too far, and then I
Mhm.
end up like hurting my arm a little bit. Have you ever has that ever happened to you where you've kind of pushed yourself a little?
Um, I've tried like certain workouts. I remember in college where it really required a lot out of my arm, and I would try to do it so I can be part of the team. But after a while, after I test my limits, I figured out what my limits were,
Yeah,
and then I kind of just played it smart, because at the end of the day, it's not worth injuring yourself, but you just have to be smart. And once you figure out, sorry, once you figure out what you can do, and just be smart about it. I mean, it's good to push yourself, but you also got to find a smart way to do it.
sure. So you've got kids as well, haven't you?
Just one. I have a almost 3-year-old. He's
Yeah.
almost 3. He'll be 3 next month.
Okay. So I've got a 3-year-old and I've got a 4-month-old at home now as well. And
Nice.
it's chaos, but it's lovely. How did you find like being a father with Erbs palsy? Like things like I know we call them nappies, you call them diapers. You know, things like changing diapers and being able to pick up your kid and things like that. Has there been any sort of issues with that with you? I know sometimes I get myself into a bit of a bad headspace sometimes because I get. You ever get any frustrations?
I mean, I can pick him up. I was getting frustrated at first because, every dad wants to put his son on his shoulders.
Yeah.
But I kind of figured out a way to do it and keep him safe. So I wouldn't advise everybody to do it, but I can pick him up and put him on my shoulders now, and I figured that out. So
one-handed.
Yeah, I pretty much just used all my left arm and got him up with my right. So figured it out. Like I said, we always figure out what to do and how to do it. So yeah, it's frustrating. It's frustrating when you can't do certain stuff, but I mean, most times we figure it out.
Yeah. It's funny. I had the same conversation the other week with someone and get my son onto my shoulders. I just I just desperately want to be able to just pick him up and just do that like every other day, So I have to like go down on my knees and get my wife to put him on my shoulder. But he still enjoys the ride when he's up there.
Right, exactly. Right. Any way to figure it out. And I should do that too. Sit on the stairs while you hop up and then
yeah, definitely. And the other thing that I spoke to the other chap about was like just getting them changed, like doing up shoelaces or little buttons and things like that. Sometimes can be a little bit fiddly with having Erbs palsy. I don't know. Again, I don't know if that's something you ever found. That sort of almost like the smaller things, like doing up buttons and stuff.
You mean me doing my buttons personally?
You or your kid.
Oh, I don't have too much hard time doing his, but sometimes it's a struggle getting my own that top button.
Yeah.
But
like doing cufflinks and stuff like that.
Yeah. But if I can't get it done, I'll just ask my wife or figure it out.
Yeah, and the other thing that, how are you with eating, like with knife and fork? Because I struggle with getting that arm over to kind of get the fork into my mouth. So sometimes I kind of adapt with the way I do things. So I hold it with the fork with my right, cut with my left, and just do it that way, like reverse things. Do you adapt like eating in any way, or?
Yeah, I mean, just pretty much left arm dominant. I cut with my right, and then I just pick it up with my cut my right and pick it up with my left, and I mean, I've been doing that since I can't remember, so it's pretty much just how I do things now.
No, it's great, and it's so nice to talk to someone that they've got so positive about it as well. I mean, have you ever let it sort of get in the way at all? And if you have, what have you done to sort of overcome that?
I mean, I've obviously had a good career playing football, but I always wonder how good I could have been if I had 2 working arms. But I try not to let that get to me too much. Because I mean, maybe if I did have 2 arms, I wouldn't have had the mental, I don't know, ability to make it that far. I don't know how I want to phrase it, but just maybe I wouldn't have wanted to be as good because I didn't have to prove to anybody that I could do it. So who knows why I was born this way, but maybe I was supposed to be, and it drove me to make it to the NFL.
Yeah, it's funny you say that because there's something that I often think about, like who would I be if I wasn't born with this. And I really like to believe that actually this was given to me for a reason. And the people that I've interacted with and met, and the things that I've done in my life that have come from actually having this injury is quite remarkable.
Right.
And I'm, in a weird way, quite grateful for the fact that it's happened to me, because it's opened a lot of doors that probably wouldn't have opened if I was normal.
Yeah, no, 100%. So every time I get that thought process, I kind of just be like, yeah, it was the reason why. So stuff happens.
Good stuff. I'm conscious of time, and I really do thank you for taking the time to chat with me again. I know we spoke a few. I think it was like nearly 4 years ago now when we were that EBN camp.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah, but yeah, I think at some point we should organise a golf tournament. I think that could be.
That'd be fun.
Yeah,
that'd be a lot of fun.
So I'll come over to America, and then you can come over to the UK, and I'll show you the course over here, and then it'll be good fun. Is there any is there anything, any sort of final message you want to sort of send out to people that are going to watch this?
I mean, I would just tell people, just try to reach for your goals, whatever they are. Don't let what we have hold you back, and just keep pushing.
Excellent. Thank you so much. What time?
Thanks for having me.
Sorry?
What would you say?
I know. So, just wondering what time it is over your there.
It's 11:10 in the morning.
Okay.
Yeah. What about there?
It's 5 p.m. 10 past 5. Yeah. So I've just done a working day, so I'm gonna go home now to my wife and kids. So.
Very nice. Very nice. Enjoy your evening.
Yeah, you too. You enjoy your day, and hopefully we'll chat again.
All right, man.
Cheers.
Yep.
Bye-bye.